If you don't think they can make a rhythm game out of pretty much anything, then let me introduce you to Super Dodgeball Beats from FinalBoss Games. This is a competitive music game where throwing balls at each other takes a back seat to tapping out beats and unleashing supernatural powers. It's a shallow yet enjoyable quest to the top, with catchy tunes and a lot of imaginative opponents. Yeah, Dodgeball's never gonna be the same. Don't let the name fool you, this is not a sequel to the Technos classic Super Dodgeball. What we get instead is a thoroughly original rhythm game that has almost nothing in common with the popular sport. This is an over-the-top and often silly team versus team battle where we use the face buttons to tap out the beats in order to utterly annihilate the competition. But watch out, because the other side is looking to do the exact same thing to you, leading to a fun back and forth with balls flying every which way. The gameplay is all about tapping to the beat. Your 4-person squad is arranged to resemble the controller's face buttons, so the idea is to pay attention to the circle outlines and hit the right button when prompted. This gets tricky as the beats will quickly bounce from one team member to another in an effort to throw you off. You'll also need to hold certain notes and use the analog stick to drag the beats from one player to the next. The real fun comes when you start throwing power-ups at the other team. You'll learn a wide variety of special abilities by hitting enough notes in a row, all of which you can unleash at the push of any of the shoulder buttons. These items include everything from turning your opponent to stone, covering up the playfield with tasty donuts, tossing out time bombs, and making the other player sick. Probably from all those donuts. The problem is that the other team will be throwing the same power-ups back at you, so you'll have to pay attention to what's on deck and how to work around the handicap. Now there's a story mode in Super Dodgeball Beats that sees a ragtag group of athletes known as Sigma Nerd Club climb their way up through the ranks. You'll need to take on the opponents, which feature everything from Power Ranger-inspired dancers, the angry elderly, a terrifying squad of cat dolls, the ghoulish dance Ferratu, and a very fancy Godzilla-type monster named Sir Goldzilla Pemberton. So much of the charm of this game comes from these different teams, all of which bring their own unique stage designs and music. Now this might be a delightful game, but it isn't very deep. Even as you work up the 3 difficulties, the tap mechanics don't change much. The problem is there isn't much of a scoring system, so there's not a lot of incentive to play through the songs after you've unlocked all the power-ups and cinemas. It's also disappointing that the higher difficulties don't add more to the story and gameplay. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. Part of the problem may be that there are only 12 songs, some of which you'll need to repeat in order to beat the story mode. I like a lot of the catchy EDM tracks, but I'm not sure I'm going to remember any of them a few days from now. About the best I can say is that the songs are great in the moment and help to highlight the different types of opponents and stages. And speaking of opponents, I wish there was a way to see their stories. This game sets up a killer lineup of amazing teams, yet we're stuck rooting for the lamest one. Man, I want to see the story connected to Sir Goldzilla Pemberton. And instead of making us play the same songs multiple times, we should be going up against more powerful boss characters. For as great as this game is, I can't help but feel like Super Dodgeball Beats comes up short of its potential. Thankfully, things perk up quite a bit when you go up against another real opponent. The game doesn't have anything in the form of online multiplayer, but the local 2-player mode is every bit as exciting as it sounds. Suddenly the power-ups and abilities make a lot more sense, and the way you use them becomes critical to winning. That's not a feeling that I got while playing the computer opponents. I mean, the story mode is fine, but the reason you buy this kind of game is for the multiplayer fun. It may not be very deep, but Super Dodgeball Beats is a charming rhythm game with a catchy soundtrack and a great sense of humor. Not only is the multiplayer action surprisingly exciting, but the fake sports teams are some of the best you're going to find in video game history. Too bad the rest of the game doesn't quite live up to that incredible roster. This is a simple game with limited lasting appeal outside of the multiplayer mode. Furthermore, the story isn't fleshed out enough, the gameplay is repetitive, and the songs won't stick with you after the game ends. Super Dodgeball Beats is a delightful play on the popular sport and one of the most original rhythm games you're gonna see this year. Hey, thanks for watching our review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Now here's the question I have for you. What sport should get a rhythm game next? You probably couldn't do the same thing with all sports, but there are a lot of them that could lend themselves really well to a music game. I can't wait to see your picks in the comments below. Well, I'm done for the weekend, but there's so much I want to get to next week. I still have a pile of reviews to get through, so I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.